Hey, what's up guys, it's Cypher. Today we're talking about a very important topic in Fortnite. We're talking about competitive Fortnite. A lot of people recently have been saying that Fortnite competitive is dying, and I'm going to go over the points that people have brought up, go over some of the stats, and just kind of give you guys a backstory as to what's going on in the competitive scene. Is it dying? I personally don't think it's dying, but the momentum is slowing down, and there needs to be something done, I think, to really rejuvenate and remotivate people to get into competitive Fortnite, to watch more competitive Fortnite, and to be excited about it, because right now the momentum is dwindling, and I can explain why here in a second. Got a guy up here. Hello, sir. Nice scar. So just recently, a pretty big thing happened in the Fortnite competitive scene. NRG's8, who is one of the longest running pro players from back in the OG days, he decided to retire from competitive Fortnite. And this is kind of a shocker because Zay has made over $1 million competing in Fortnite, and it's not like he became washed or anything. He's still been placing really well in the tournaments, deciding to move on. He might just be tired of it, but being tired of it can be due to the results of the competitive events. One, having way less prize pool, and two, not feeling as hype as they were before. So he might have lost motivation because of these changes that have happened over time to competitive. The prize pool is extremely low compared to what it used to be, and now we have the weekly Friday bragging rights, where if you win that event, you get a shout out. You don't actually get any money from that, which, at the end of the day, I'm all for like events, even if they're not necessarily for prize money. But if you compare that to when we had daily cash cups, we literally at one point had daily cash cups. The bragging rights tournament seems a little bit, on the short end of the stick. And we kind of just waiting until the start of FNCS. Speaking of FNCS, the prize pools for FNCS has also gotten lower and lower. We had trios FNCS not too long ago. And the first trios FNCS, I remember guys like Benji and Mongraal, Mr. Savage, Mitro, they were winning like anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 every single week of the FNCS each. They walked away with six figures each by placing first and second, back to back and doing really well. Doing that for this upcoming trio FNCS will most likely not even get them a fraction of that. So the reality is that at the end of the day, it's pro players competing for thousands of dollars, and people might say, they should just be grateful to be able to play competitively. But here's where things get a little bit tricky. A lot of these pro players are actually making more money from doing content creation, making videos, streaming, and good for them. They have an alternate source of revenue. But what ends up happening is they actually lose motivation. There's so many pro players that have quit for content creation or moved on to other games because maybe they feel like the prize pool isn't as incentivized. And I'm all for that. I've been promoting content creation for a very long time. That's the reason why I primarily focus on content creation, because it is going to be better for me in the future to focus on making content for people, being entertaining, than it would be for me to play in Fortnite tournaments. Even though I really like playing Fortnite tournaments though, because they can be fun. Speaking on that topic, another thing that has shifted is the fun factor, right? If you guys remember back in the day, especially during the World Cup qualifiers, a lot of content creators used to play the tournaments for fun. You had people like Courage JD, Tim the Tatman playing the World Cup qualifiers, and it drove the viewership really high. Even though people like Courage and Tim didn't necessarily win a cash cup or place in the money for those really competitive tournaments, but they still had a fun time playing it. That doesn't really happen anymore. There's only a few content creators and streamers who actually play competitive Fortnite for fun and for the viewing experience. I do compete sometimes. You have people like Nick A30 competing, Nick Mercs. Oh my god, I almost died. Not many people are actually like taking their time to stream these cash cups and events. And actually, even though the viewership on FNCS is still good, viewership on cash cups and the smaller events are a little bit lower on Twitch and on YouTube. So I feel like there's less interest from the casual audience regarding competitive. And that's actually a pretty big deal, because at the end of the day, it is a business, and Epic is not in the business of burning money. They've done huge prize pools in the past. They did the World Cup, and I think that was a huge success. but things have kind of shifted and the interest I feel like has dropped a little bit. So the question is like, what can they do, right? What can they do to bring back some of the momentum and the prize pools and the interest around competitive? There's a few different things. Like if you remember the summer skirmishes, the invite only tournaments, I mean, they were cool because you had like the top the top streamers and pro players, you know, all in lobbies together. And back then, honestly, the skill level was still kind of short to where like a casual content creator could still have a chance at a pro player. Nowadays, a pro player who actually competes every single day is going to destroy just about every single content creator that exists. That's just the reality. But I do think that some of the viewers miss the environment where you could watch like your favorite streamers go head to head, and maybe working some of those like invite, you know, content creator events back into it could be a useful thing. The other idea that some people, or that I have personally, is that at the end of the day, battle royale, that's the current competitive mode, and that's really the only competitive mode we have is the BR version of Fortnite. But we have like modded things coming to the game, and we have potential huge changes to the game that might allow future competitive events and stuff to not be all just BR. There could be opportunities for non-BR like tournaments and team-based modes that could kind of like shake things up and make things like a little bit more interesting for the competitive scene, and get back some of the casual audiences that might have lost interest over time, because it has been kind of a lot of the same for a while. Like most of these events are just different based off the map and the meta, but there is a bit of like repetition that's going down in competitive, and we've kind of seen some of the stuff before and some of the strats, and there needs to be a little bit more shake up to the competitive scene. And I'm not saying to take away BR completely, not at all. I think BR is still really important, but I think adding like other events that are not necessarily battle royale oriented, that you can utilize some of the, you know, talent of modded creations and whatnot, and different maps and things like that, it could go a long way to making Fortnite a little more interesting in the competitive scene, and give people the opportunity who maybe aren't into the BR anymore and want to, you know, compete creative warriors, zone wars, team-based modes, capture the flag. All those things could like kind of spice things up and get some people back into it. Another thing that kind of stings a little bit is we're not going to have a World Cup this year. We're just going to have 3 trio FNCS, so it's going to be back to back trio FNCS. Speaking of repetition, that's going to be pretty repetitive. It's good to have like a standard, like, but I feel like the FNCS is going to lose its importance, and the fact that it's going to be the same mode might make some of the casual audience be like, oh, this is just like the second trio FNCS of the year, third trio FNCS of the year, fourth one of the year. Like people might lose interest. It's not going to feel as important for the audience, and the audience is important. At the end of the day, viewership is what drives the revenue. It's what drives interests in the game. People buy skins because of it. Like, think about how many people would have bought the Benjyfishy skin pack if it wasn't for him actually rocking the skin pack all the time. Like, that's his skin pack. That's what he rocks. Another aspect that's kind of gone missing is the LANs. Of course, for good reason, we can't have LAN events, but the LAN events kind of drew more importance to them. You would have like a live event from Fortnite, and people would be able to see the competitors, you know, in person, like, and like on the streams, they're like actual reactions, and they'd all be in the same room competing. We kind of lost that, and we probably won't get that back until 2022, because there won't be a World Cup until 2022 as well. And that's, I mean, that's it could go even longer than that before we get another event like that. So we'll have to see, you know, regarding these events, when will they return? Because the events, if you remember, a lot of like the most impressive, most memorable Fortnite esport moments, they were around the events, the LAN events, where, you know, Tfue and Closey won the duo Twitch event, when Bugha won the World Cup You get more attracted to the storylines of the players. It feels more important right now. There is not as much story involved. Most of these guys are not even streaming the events because it's not in their best interest to stream. They could get stream sniped or give away strategy. Even people like Mongraal had to turn off their 100k viewers during the last FNCS to try to avoid getting stream sniped. On top of that, like when Epic is doing the live stream, they still use the spectator mode, which is kind of laggy and feels very choppy and doesn't really allow you to see the true skill that some of these players have. There's a lot of things that still need improvement, but it's not like Fortnite competitive is dying. The momentum is just really, really low right now, and it needs to be picked back up. I think this is AI. All right. GG. Thank you guys so much for watching. What do you think about competitive Fortnite? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.